In this video we're going to spend a bit of time looking at the Race Advisor Insights part of the Race Advisor site. So let's spend a bit of time just looking around and seeing what we have available here. But the first thing to note is that there's a lot of free information that we can glean about this race. And I'm going to spend a bit of time actually just looking at the Kempton 310 this afternoon. And we'll just use this as an example and see where the Race Advisor Insights may help us. Well, the first thing to note is that we get for each race the strongest trainer, the strongest jockey, and the percentage of favourites that win. This is always a good starting point just to get a balance of what of where we think the favourites might do well. So actually we see here this is a chase handicap over 2 miles 4 furlongs. We see that 38% of favourites win in these sort of conditions. Now that's higher than average, about 33% is the average favourites winning, so we should make note of the favourites doing well in this race. We also see the strongest trainer and strongest jockey is Nicky Henderson, no surprise there, he's a very, very good trainer, and Nick de Boinville, as we know, is his stable jockey, so it goes without saying that he does well here. And they have Dodie the Great, which is favourite, and also Nicky Henderson has Will Carver. We'll spend a bit of time looking at those. Then the next line down we have the biggest class movers. This is done by prize money. So Michael Wilding is very keen on class, looking at class by prize money, and we can see that the Edgar Wallace has dropped significantly in prize money ratings. Dodie the Great dropped down for 8,000, and Dr. Ken has gone up 5,500. The other angle here is most profitable horses, and we'll see that Will Carver is profitable to back for win and for place, and then the least profitable one is or most profitable for laying is the Last King, the Last High King. The best handicap horses, this is an algorithm that Michael's developed, and this is based on a weight adjusted speed rating, and it compares their weight today with what they've carried in the past, and make some assumptions on best handicap courses. And we can see that S Perfecto is the one that has a good rating here of 13. Then the next line down here is the 3 most suited horses, the 3 most suited trainers, and the 3 most suited jockeys. And again, this just helps you get a feel of which horses are doing well. And we can see here that Dodie the Great is the most suited horse, most suited trainer, and most suited jockey. No surprise, because Nicky Henderson is top in trainers and Nick de Boinville is top on jockeys. And then Dr. Ken is third here, second here, third here, and first here. And then Borboli's just appears on the most suited horses, Will Carver here, and S Perfecto. So we're seeing the same horses, only 7 horses in this race, but we're seeing the same few horses pop up quite a bit, and that's where we want to spend a bit of time looking at those. So what I thought I'd do is just do a very quick 5-minute form read, not necessarily the full 5 minutes, but we'll just dip in and have a look at the horses that sort of appear top of these various lists and see if there's an angle in or where we think the odds might be in our favour. So on that note, let's just have a quick look at the odds for this particular race. Let's sort these by the favourite, and we can see here that no surprise that Dodie the Great is 2-1. Just it was a bit shorter actually earlier on this morning when I first looked at 6-4. Just drifted out a bit. S Perfecto, a bit of money for that. Bubali 5-2. Those 3 have shortened. Then we've got some longer price ones here. Dr. Ken, the Edgar Wallace, the Last High King, and Will Carver here at 28-1. And that's obviously reflected here on Betfair as well. You can see that Dodie the Great is the favourite, Borboli, S Perfecto, and then double figures the rest. So that gives us a sort of an angle in, and let's just have a look at these in no particular order of where they appear. So let's just remind ourselves where these horses fall. I have to say, let's just look at this. The most suited horses, because I think this is a really strong part of the website, and pay great credence with this. So Bubali here has got a 36% rating in terms of most suited as it were, and we can see here this is the number here that's pulled in from that particular angle, the horse strength 36%, and that is made up of the going, the distance, the class, the race type, and over the course. So you can see here that these are quite strong numbers. It was profitable for the back, this horse. In hurdle races it's 4 from 20 and chase is 2 from 7. So if we go and have a look at how it's been performing recently, ran here back in October, won over 22k. This is the same rates as today. Joe Chizard rode for Brendan Powell. Brendan Powell was Joe Chizard is aboard again today. Reasonably well fancied, 6.4 in a 6-runner race. That was in a handicap chase. So again, we'll see this is going over 2 miles 2 last time. So steps up a couple of furlongs, but obviously it's got some really good form. It's really got some really good form here, and we should take note of this particular race. Just a good steady profile in terms of the speed ratings. Just dipped down here for this particular race back in May. So that was the time before last when it was third, beaten quite a long way. That was at Kempton as well in a 26k race, but that was the end of the season there, and that may be. Now the question of course is the going. It's good to soft here at Kempton today. So ran here, beaten 3 lengths, beaten 13 lengths on good to soft, and it won over by 22 lengths again at Kempton. So it's got some good solid Kempton form, this Bubali, so you can see why it's reasonably well fancied in the betting there. Last time out winner as well. I know the stable do well with those, and it's also got a bit of pace in the race. So if we have a look here, made all last time, jumped well throughout, always a good sign that it jumps well. So close up here, briefly led first, soon headed on landing, raced second. So yeah, I think that's one that's we should look at. The Edgar Wallace. This horse is, if we just have a look at the form, so we see here's 29% on the race strength here, but does well at the distance, the class. Hasn't done any racing, never raced here, it would appear. Last time ran a really good race, and this is the class dropper, if you remember. Raced here, Aintree in a chase handicap there. That was on soft, well beaten. Newcastle over on heavy did better, but that was 4 runners. Close up there, close up at Weatherby, coming off a break here. So this hasn't raced this season. So that's probably one to be a little bit wary of. But again, goes off from front and led, made all. So again, quite a good angle is to see these horses that lead in chase races. Here's the favourite, Dodie the Great. Well, no surprise that Nicky Henderson puts this over the chases for the first time, and it's being well backed. Has got some reasonable form, but nothing special here. Ran in a handicap hurdle at Cheltenham back here in December 23, but since then hasn't really done very much. But these have been in better class races. Ran at Ayr on soft, didn't do much that time, and again comes off a break. It's not my idea of a short price to be betting here, but some will do that on the basis that it's Nicky Henderson, and we saw the favourite does very well in these sorts of races. Dr. Ken, nice improving speed profile here, got a good horse strength rating, 59%. You see here 59%, slightly down from Dodie the Great. So has it got any form in terms of chase racing, handicap chases? We can see that was a hurdle race. So again, one that's bringing hurdle form into the race. Sorry, this is still looking at Dodie the Great. That's Dr. Ken. He has been chasing at Taunton, won last time on good to soft. So again, that's an interesting one. Quite short price that day. That's an interesting one, and I think we could probably look at it in a bit more detail. So ground on soft, yeah, beaten 1.25 lengths on soft here, but again we noticed it hasn't run here. So question mark is, will it do well at Kempton? But Taunton's a flat track as well, and we know that Kempton's a flat track, so that should suit this particular horse, Dr. Ken. Yeah, that comes off a break as well, doesn't it? 60 plus, but the jockey does well for Aidan Curtin. Murphy does well for here, so that's one to look at. Doing okay in these sorts of races. Will Carver. This horse doesn't do well on this particular going, so that was my concern here. It has run on good to soft. It was beaten 7 lengths at Utoxeter. That was, and then back here it was Newbury in a hurdle race. I was a bit concerned. It hasn't run that often on good to soft, so that was the concern on this one. And so we'll probably pass over there. S Perfecto. This was the, if you remember, this was the horse that is the handicapped horse. So let's just have a look at that. We can see here not particularly good horse strength rating, declining speed profile over here. It's not something. It was well beaten here, 46 lengths in a handicap chase. Cheltenham in a 40k race, beaten 6 lengths. That was back early in this year. So again, this is first time out this stage in this season. So that's not something I'm that particularly interested in. So just going back up to look, so we can see here in terms of the horse most likely to win is Bubali, slightly better than Dodie the Great, but I'm quite interested in his Dr. the Ken. He appeals to me. Coming off a long break though, that's the downside with Dr. Ken. But if he's tuned up and ready, I think he could go well. So let's just have another look at the odds. Dr. Ken, he's 9-1, fourth favourite here. So we'll see. He's on the drift slightly, so he may not be particularly tuned up, ready to go today. So it may be that this horse here, S Perfecto, is coming off a break, isn't he? And does pretty well, and Bubali. But Dodie the Great is not something that I'm inclined to look at here. But that was the look through the Race Advisor Insights. A really powerful set of statistics to work through, and just give you a way into a race and see if there's some form that you like for those particular ones. Okay, well, we've got the results in now, and we can go to the Race Advisor website and just have a quick look. 2 ways of looking at results here. We can look at the results in the sort of traditional way, and we can also look at the chart way, where we can just see how close up the horses were. Let's just go back to the results. There's a couple of things just to pick out of that race. Well, the first one was that Bubali and the Edgar Wallace both went off in quite a strong pace in front. Edgar Wallace ran on strongly. Bubali was there with him. I think they probably set each other up to fail and left the race open for S Perfecto and Dr. Ken to come close by. Dr. Ken was the one that we quite liked. Both of these are coming off a break. The disappointment was Dodie the Great, Nicky Henderson's horse. Really didn't jump that well, and wasn't really something that we were particularly interested in here. Probably too good a race for him. The Last King, the Husk High King, that was the one we didn't look at, and that's come in last. So overall, we found something here with Dr. Ken. Came in at 9-1, 9 on Betfair. So that was an interesting horse as was placed there. So yeah, that was how to look at the race using the insights. I hope you found that useful.